Hello everyone, it's Stephanie and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about all things group travel. Now I know it can be very overwhelming trying to find the right travel tour company to go with because nowadays there's so many travel companies out there. In this video, I really hope to guide you in the right direction by sharing some tips and what to look for in hopes that you can find the right travel tour company that best suits you. So before we get started in the video, I definitely wanted to share a little bit more about me and how I like to travel. I do enjoy traveling with family and friends, solo traveling, and of course group travel. I like staying in hostels, hotels, Airbnbs, and resorts. So I don't really have a set travel style, and I'm not biased in any certain style of traveling. I definitely like to switch it up, and I like a mixture of everything. And also, I'm not going to be mentioning any specific travel companies in this video. This is more of an informational type of video if you are interested in group travel and just sharing some of my tips. So with that being said, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and let's get started. So if you've never heard of group travel before, or maybe you're new into the travel world, basically a travel tour company takes care of all the logistics that goes into a trip. So they plan out your itinerary, have your transportation ready, your accommodations that you'll be staying in, and the activities that you'll be doing on your trip. Travel tour companies take care of all the travel planning in hopes that your trip runs smoothly. And essentially you're going to be traveling with a group of people, whether it's a smaller group of people or a larger group of people, and that just all depends on the travel tour company that you choose to go with. With that being said, not all travel tour companies are the same or work the same way. Now that we have all the basics out the way, we can really start into this video. So I think many people have an idea in their mind of what a group tour looks like and how it operates, and there's just one way of doing group tours, and that's completely wrong because there's many travel styles within the travel world, but especially within group tours, and I think many people don't know that. So obviously you have your standard more budget tours, so your more luxurious tours and everything in between. But to go a little bit deeper into what travel styles look like, I'm going to give you guys a few examples. So if you're a person who's into more of the historical and educational side of traveling, there are tours tailored for that. For a person who's more interested in the adventure side of traveling, there are tours that are dedicated to that include hiking, camping, safaris, bicycling, and everything that is under the adventure-based travel sector. If you are a person who's really interested in the more cultural and local side of traveling, there are tours for that. If you are a person who's really into food and the culinary aspect of travel, there are tours for that. If you're looking for tours for specific age groups, there are tours for high school students, young adults, people in their 40s and 50s, and of course senior citizens. If you are interested in partying and going to festivals all over the world, there are tours for that. If you prefer to explore a destination by sea and not by land, there are tours for boating, sailing, yachting, doing more snorkeling, scuba diving, and everything that has to do with the marine life. There are tours dedicated for that as well. And the list goes on. As you can see, there are plenty types of tours out there for everyone, and you are bound to find something that you are really interested in. If you are someone who really wants to travel somewhere and your friends and family or significant other come up with excuses, can't make time for it, don't have the funds, or they just bail out on you, go with a group travel option. This is a great way to travel to the places that you want to go, meet people that have the same interests as you, because a lot of people who go on group tours go solo. Also, if you are a person who wants to travel to a specific destination and don't feel safe going alone because of safety concerns that you have, going on a group tour gives you a sense of safety. If you don't feel comfortable going completely alone, the group tour obviously is not going to put you in a dangerous situation, and things are just planned out and they know the area that they're going to be visiting and stuff. So I definitely recommend a group tour if you don't feel comfortable going to a certain destination by yourself. If you are a solo traveler and you are planning a long trip and visiting different countries and whatnot, maybe joining a group travel to the middle of a trip would be a fun way to mix it up, so you don't have to worry about planning things and just go with the flow and meet other people. I've personally done this, and I've met other travelers who've done this as well. It's a great way to mix solo travel and group travel together. So there's a few ways to go about finding the right travel tour company, and here are a few that I recommend. So the first one is Google. But then again, this option can be overwhelming because there could be pages and pages and pages of different travel companies out there. So the second option I recommend is asking for a recommendation or referral from a family or friend in your inner circle who has been on a group tour before. But this option may be a little bit iffy because maybe that person doesn't have the same travel style as you, or maybe doesn't have the same interest as you when it comes to travel. My third option is a resource I like to recommend to people, and I personally use it myself, and it's using tourrater.com. This website is a great resource for group travel tours. They have tons of travel companies on their website. I'm not saying they have every travel company in the world on this website, but they do have enough to choose from. You're able to narrow down your decision by destination, travel style, price range, the type of company you want to go with. There's so much information on this website, and also they have really great deals. So after looking at a couple of group tours, you may be interested in 2 or 3 options. What I recommend doing is definitely looking closely at each itinerary and getting the pros and cons of each itinerary. Like I mentioned before, all travel tour companies are different, so each itinerary is going to be different. To give an example is option A could be going to all the places that you want to go to, but they're going to be staying there at a shorter time frame, as opposed to option B, they're going to the same places and staying there for a longer period of time. Or option C can have going to the same places with better accommodation and better activities. So by looking closely at each itinerary option, you're gonna find and spot those differences between each one, so you can make a decision that best aligns in what you're looking for. After looking at the itineraries, this is where I highly recommend, I can't stress this enough, do your research. You have to do the due diligence of doing your research with anything, but especially if you're going to be putting your hard-earned money into a travel experience. You want to know what you're going to get out of it, how it's going to be, and all this information. You really need to do your research, because at the end of the day, it's your money, and you don't want to be disappointed in an experience that you paid for because you didn't do your research. Number 1, I would definitely recommend researching the travel company that you are interested in going with, just because I would want to know how long they've been in business, how long they've been operating for, because I personally wouldn't want to go with a travel company that's brand new, that's new to the travel industry, and doesn't have all their logistics mapped out. Because they're new, they don't have enough maybe traveler reviews and stuff like that. I would personally look into companies that have been in the travel industry for a longer period of time. Which brings me to number 2, is looking at the reviews on their website. This is a huge key factor in looking to see what past travelers had to say about their experience with this company and the particular trip. They're all negative. Definitely do not book with them, because that's a clear indicator that that company is not worth booking with. It's a huge red flag. But I personally like to look for reviews that have both positive and negative reviews on the website, because that just gives you kind of overview of what travelers had to say. So number 3, if you don't trust the website's reviews, I like to take it a step further and look at blog posts. A lot of travelers who go on these trips may have a blog and maybe wrote down their experience, their opinions, or maybe have a bunch of photos of their trip. So this is a great way to gather more information about this specific trip, about this specific company, by seeing someone else's true opinion without being on the website. It's their own personal blog. And how to find a blog is basically going on Google, writing the tour company's name, and then just add blog posts and hit search, and maybe you'll find someone's blog talking about your particular trip that you're interested in. Option 4 is looking up videos on YouTube. A lot of travelers who go on these trips may not have a personal blog, but they may be documenting their trip in a video format and uploading it to YouTube. A lot of people like documenting their trip and putting a video montage, or maybe they have a channel and they're just talking about their trip experience and their opinions about that particular company. By looking at YouTube videos, you can see the overall vibe of the trip and also pull information out that way. And how to find these videos is just putting the name of the company and hitting search, and hopefully videos pop up up or the name of the specific trip and see if videos come up that way. Nowadays, a lot of tour companies have their own hashtag that they want their travelers to promote before posting. So definitely look up the tour company's hashtag, go on Instagram and find photos of travelers who are currently on the trip or past travelers, and you are able to see the photos of their trip. You can DM them and be like, hey, I came across your photo and I saw that you went on a tour with this company. What is your experience and do you recommend it? And that's another way to get information. I get tons of DMs and emails from people who come across my Instagram or my blog posts and ask me questions about certain tour groups. So this is another great way to get information. Last but not least is calling the company directly. If you have unanswered questions or you're not getting clarity from the website, or maybe you're just confused on certain things that you want answers to, call the company. They should have a customer service line where you can call and get these questions answered by someone who works at that company. And it's just another great way to gather information and get more clarity on the specific trip that you're interested in. Now that you have done your research and you pulled information everywhere and anywhere that you can, this is where you can narrow down your options and make your decision on which travel company to go with. Before you book, there's a few things that you should keep in mind. I highly recommend signing up for the newsletter of that specific tour company that you are interested in, because you never know what emails can be sent to you with discounts and promotional codes, and that's a great way to save some money if you are on a budget. Or if the tour that you're interested in is on tourradar.com, also sign for that newsletter as well, because they also send a bunch of travel deals, discount codes. I mean, come on, like who doesn't like saving some money? Another thing to note is that if you are really interested going on a trip and maybe you don't have all the finances ready to go to pay in full, look to see if that specific tour company offers payment plans, because a lot of companies nowadays do offer payment plans. So the earlier you book and the farther out your trip is, you can put down a deposit and pay off your trip monthly until you pay it off before your trip. And a lot of people don't know this is an option, so definitely look into it. But if you are trying to book a trip that's coming up sooner, I don't think you have this option. You may have to just pay in full, so just keep that in mind. Another important thing to know is that the price that you are going to pay, you need to see whether the flight is included or not included. You don't want to book a tour, assume that your flight is included, and it's the day of your trip and you head to the airport and there's no flight booked. Like, that is not a fun time. Some companies do offer to book the flight for you, but I personally like booking it myself. I just like having control of booking my own flight, and just because I like to think I find amazing flight deals. So that's all up to you whether or not you want to have the company book it for you or you book it yourself. So if you are going to be booking a tour by yourself, if you're going completely solo, majority of the time you're going to be sharing a room with someone else from the tour. So if you do not feel comfortable sharing a room with a complete stranger, some companies do have the option of booking a room by yourself. That's going to be a little bit extra as opposed to just sharing a room with somebody else. If you're going to be traveling with a friend, a family member, or a significant other on a group tour, when you book, definitely call the company up and make sure to tell them that you want to room with that specific person, so you're not surprised when you get there. So I wanted to talk about mindset, because I think everyone who is going on a group tour has the mindset of having a great time, having fun, exploring a new destination, and just learning different things, and also meeting new people. And I think that's a great mindset to go in with, having an open mind and just being open to learning new things, having new experiences and stuff like that, because I have come across a few people during some tours that are very close-minded and prefer not to be in a group setting. And in my head, I'm just like, why are you on a group tour wasting your money when you could have done it solo? And I think it's really important to mention this just because you are going to be meeting people from different parts of the world that grew up differently, have a different background, different culture, and obviously have different opinions, different personalities. And I think it's really important just to go in with an open mind, meeting new people, have respect, and just learn from everyone. And I think that's the beauty of group tours, just because you meet different people from all walks of life. And another thing with mindset, things do happen that maybe you didn't plan for, and things do pop up, and that's part of the beauty of travel. Things aren't always rainbows and butterflies. You can't control certain things, maybe like the weather being bad, or maybe a certain excursion was overbooked and you can't go that day. Don't let that ruin your mood, your vibe, your overall trip experience, because it happens with travel tour groups, or if you're traveling by yourself, things do happen. So just be positive, take it with a grain of salt, and things will be fine. So I personally think that group tours are amazing and I absolutely love them. I recommend everyone at least try it once in their lifetime. I personally have met incredible people through group tours, and I'm still in contact today with people from my very first tour, which is crazy. I have friends that are scattered all throughout the world, and I wouldn't have met them if it wasn't for group tours. If they're ever in town, we go meet up, or sometimes we've actually made our own little trips happen. And I think it's a really great way to meet people who have like-minded interests. And it's so crazy if you actually think about it. Like, you guys all go on a group tour and you all are strangers in the beginning, but by the end of the tour you guys are like a little family. And if you ever been on a group tour, you know what I'm talking about. Like, you all have that one connection of that experience of being on the trip together. You have all those memories, all those inside jokes, and you guys all shared this one common experience together. So whenever you look back on it, you're gonna have those memories that you have with people that traveled with you. And it doesn't matter if it was a shorter trip or a longer trip, you all are bonded together somehow. And I hope this video was helpful for anyone who is interested in group travel. Please let me know in the comments down below whether if you've been on a group tour before, or if you're planning to go on a group tour after seeing this video. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and stay tuned for my next video. Ciao!